Okay. Episode 3 of TBATE. The first thing that comes to mind is a quote from Mass Effect 2. It it feels like you added a little more food and less ass. Um, yeah, this was. I actually got to get enveloped in the story this time, and I wasn't paying as much attention to the animation because there was animation. So
Yeah.
Finally,
so
it has more movement than a visual novel.
hey,
Hooray!
there's that old saying, give an anime 3 episodes, and on the 3rd episode it finally delivered, I feel. For the most part,
Yes, I'm ready to be disappointed with episode 4.
to be fair, episode 4s are like the bane of Fat Dog existence. Toradora is the one exception.
Exactly.
Yeah. That being the case, though, guys, wow, this was actually a good episode. Like, I mean, good in terms of not just story, which Moon and I already knew it was gonna be, but we'll get into that in a moment. We have to dive into our introductions. I'm Richie Roberts. I am joined by Moonlight Sparks,
Hey.
Fenris Arun,
Hoi.
Hoshi Nugget,
Hi.
ahoy, and apparently, Sensho, Mari, somewhere around here. But no, yeah. So just for reference, Hoshi and Fenris are anime only. They don't know anything about the story of the show. They are
I've read the first two chapters of the manhwa.
of the
that was
manhwa. Okay, yeah. And we will probably do a review of like the manhwa stuff with the anime onlys at a later time. That could just be a thing that we do for a panel. It's just we all
That'd be fun.
experience the actual manhwa together. You know?
That'd be fun.
There you
It's
go.
like, oh yeah, which is funny because I have like physical comics with me too of this. But Moon
That's
has
a lot better than my thought of doing a deep dive into bioweapons from Resident Evil.
you can do that too if you want to do a panel for that.
I need to finish the PowerPoint for it first.
Well,
I still have 37 slides I need to finish.
you have a lot of reference with the first 2 episodes of this show on how to properly do a PowerPoint. No, that is not that. All right, not a joke. Literally, this series. The nickname for it was the slideshow after the end. That has
Yeah.
been the prevailing nickname
Yeah.
online, and for the first 2 episodes, it definitely delivered on that.
Yep.
But Moon has read, or rather listened to, the first 6 volumes, or 6, 5.5, 6-ish, whatever. I'm just saying 6.
yeah.
I'm just gonna say 6, round 6.
Fair.
You have
Fair.
volume 6. You're in the middle of it. It's okay.
Mm.
So good way through. At least as of this moment, a little more than half.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have read about part way through volume 11. I don't know where I am in terms of like the whole book. I just know that the whole book is huge, and I'm a good way through it.
So a couple parts of this that kind of stood out to me, and throughout it all, I was just thinking various random shit. Like when Sylvia gave Arthur the food, I was hearing in my head her saying, "You're gonna eat and you're gonna fucking like it."
Oh yeah.
That was supposed to be the vibe, yeah.
And
Yeah.
part of me was like, what is it? Like some special fruit or something? Like, but because she was like,
just
it's like
fruit.
just fruit.
Well, we can also get to the. They do go into more detail in the novel about this.
Yeah.
Like a lot more stuff, which I understand. Like I knew certain things weren't going to get delved into about like the specialness of the area and all that stuff because anime. Like it is what it is, and I'm okay with that. However, there was some confusion that Hoshi brought up earlier when we were watching. It was like, but Sylvie. All right, we can finally say Sylvie and a she. We got
Yes,
that information.
finally.
She found him in a forest, and now they're in a cave, and that threw Hoshi off a little bit because like, what happened?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. So here's the thing about the end of episode 3. that is different from the other two variations. And
Mhm.
the other two variations, Arthur heard a voice in his head and it told him where to go. It guided him to the cave. And the cave is when we first meet Sylvie.
Mhm.
Yeah. We hear a voice and it's very it is very female, the voice. And then we show up and we see that. The big armor thing, and it's like, and we kind of sort of got it in the anime, but there was definitely that it's in the comic and it's in the novel of Sylvia is the very definition of don't judge. Sylvia is the very definition of don't judge a book by its cover.
Mhm.
You know,
Because big and scary at first, but really just a big sweetheart.
yeah, just a big grandma. It's grandma.
Absolutely.
We finally got to meet grandma, and that was. Oh,
My
I'm so
heart.
glad. Yeah. Oh no, believe me, everybody who is a fan of this series, their heart upon grandma. No matter how long it's been since you've been back to this moment, it. I think it hits even worse the more context you have about
Mhm.
events happening in the future and just getting to go back to this moment. This is like that moment where and I think I want to know if both of you who are just fresh on this series kind of get the same feeling, but this felt like the moment where we said goodbye to Gray and Arthur finally began.
Yeah.
Okay.
It definitely had that feeling of finality.
Yeah.
Which is it's going to be interesting to kind of see like who Arthur becomes because we saw how Gray was, and now to like see how he's going to be as Arthur now. It's like, are you going to be the same? Are you going to be similar but different, or are you going to be like completely 100% different? Like, I'm interested to see how that could branch out.
Yeah, that's an interesting way that does, and I'll be honest, I think I was having some of the same thoughts when I read this particular part. But the thing is, I didn't have to wait a week for the next episode. I just kept reading.
Mhm.
So,
Also-
little bit of cheating right there.
Because
Little
all
bit
of this
cheating.
happens in one book.
I
I will
also
tell you
wanna-
this, Hoshi, if I have to come up there and pick you up for a KaiCon, we will be listening to the audiobook for beginning after the end. So you will
The
actually
whole
get a
time.
lot of this. Yeah, no, seriously. We'll just
You
do
know what?
that.
I might play it for my sister on the way up.
Do it! Do it! Do volume one!
Start back on 1, yeah.
Dude, that's
But my
the,
thing is,
that's
how
the
And then
big
see
reason.
if she cries when that
That is
pops
the
up.
big reason why I want everyone to. That is why I want to get my AC fixed so we could just play the freaking audiobook for a KaiCon stuff. Like when we're running around to a KaiCon, or when we're having to drive all over for food stuffs. Because I think one of the things was Korean barbecue. I think we're trying to do that.
Yep, that
Okay, cool,
was
cool.
one of the things.
I've never had Korean barbecue before.
Oh,
Well,
that's why.
you would be very curious.
Yeah,
I don't know if I think my sister's had Korean barbecue, but if she hasn't, I know she'll like it.
I took my brother.
However, I will say every other thing we order will have to be some level of chicken. She's picky.
Okay,
Mm.
that's fine. I mean, like that's on her.
I know.
I know specific types of beef that I do want to eat, and others that are like, yeah, it doesn't work as good for Korean barbecue. Like you see it on a menu and you're like, that looks good, but then you don't realize it doesn't work the same way. You know, there's different ways of cooking that make it better.
Yep.
I just want to know if that Korean barbecue place we're going to is all you can eat or if you pay per dish.
I don't think it's pay per dish. I think there's a bundle pay for like a certain amount of all sorts of stuff.
Okay, because
Yeah.
I remember the last Korean barbecue place I went down to in Texas. I was caught off guard because it was $70 all you can eat.
That's
And
cheap.
I just ate
That's
nothing.
wonderful.
I ate nothing but Wagyu.
Yeah, I will
Oh,
tell
yeah.
you this. I will tell you this right now, 100%. If we ever plan a group trip to Texas, we have to go to Carolton.
Wagyu.
All right.
Carolton is there's an area in Carolton that is like it's like the Asian like area. It's
Yeah,
like,
I know that place. That's where I
yeah,
went
that's
to.
where the Korean barbecue is, and they have and it's also the there's a store there that sells manga and anime, and they have
That's
the original
only in
Japanese
Korean.
manga. Yeah.
Yep.
Mm.
They only
Well, they
sell
have both.
Korean and Japanese.
No, they have
I didn't
it
when
in
I was
English.
when I was there, they did not have anything in English.
Really? Okay. Well, that's changed
Yes.
because in 2020 it was like that. Like
Um,
they had it in English and
they
Japanese
also
and
have
Korean.
they have a boba place, a
Yeah, they
Korean
do.
corn dog,
A Japanese
built
bakery.
sushi. Oh, dude, that bakery is so
Oh, yeah.
fucking good.
Not to mention the Asian supermarket that they have there is freaking fantastic. The funniest
They
thing was
also-
going with my very white parents into this area and doing all this stuff. And
They
my
also
dad was
have
like, they
fucking
have such
Japanese
good stuff.
cheesecakes.
Yes, Japanese cheesecake is awesome. But yeah, in
Korean
Carrollton,
fried
that's where it's
chicken.
at. Yeah. Oh, Korean fried chicken, so good.
Like, I have a group of friends
Mhm.
that we went down there for a concert last year. We're
Mhm.
planning a trip to go back to hit all the restaurants we didn't eat at. That is the only reason for the trip.
If we head to
I love
Carrollton,
that.
I know there's somebody who's going to be a little upset with us if we don't go. By the way, that bookstore that we were talking about, there is a specific reason why they have to have stuff in English, because that's where a lot of the writers and stuff that were working for Funimation, well, formerly Funimation, now Crunchyroll, would get like the novels or the comics or novels, manga to do research when writing
downside,
the
though,
English dub version
it-
of scripts.
It is quite a drive for them.
For the others, yes. I just figured we'd road trip
for
it.
no
but I
for
don't
the for the people from Crunchyroll going down to that bookstore to buy.
No, it's not. Dallas Fort Worth is not that far from
It's like
Carrollton.
2 hours.
No, it's not. It's like no,
Fairly
dude.
certain it is.
No, DFW, Dallas Fort Worth and Carrollton? No. Carrollton's pretty close to Dallas Fort Worth. Google Earth, my dude.
Oh,
Or Google
shit.
Maps. Yeah.
Fuck
Keep
yeah.
asking. I don't know how much Dallet Fort is worth.
Oh, you had to be the one. You had to be the one to go ahead and make a pun.
All the money.
And of course, I'm just in time to make an accidental rhyme. So there we go. Back to episode 3.
I feel like there was
Yes.
something I was supposed to remember about Texas.
How does she? Okay.
All my exes live in Texas.
Something like
Yes.
that.
Toast.
also,
Maybe
how
it was
Texas
does
toast.
Sylvia?
Or Mo.
Oh,
How does Sylvia
also,
know? How does Sylvia know that he's?
she doesn't.
But she did. She called him. She called him Gray.
Did she?
Gray, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she called him Gray.
Oh, I missed that
She
in the
called him
anime.
Gray.
I
And
missed
so I'm
that in
just
the
like,
anime.
how does she know?
I think I know. I don't want to say anything because it's like super future events.
Yeah.
But
I
like,
will
I-
say this:
But
the
there's
two
also another level.
things talking to each other in like that one little like grassy area, that's new content to me. Like,
Oh.
case in point, it may be because I haven't finished volume 11, but that's
Could
all
be.
new content to me.
Or
Yeah,
it could
I'm
just
sitting
be.
here. I know who it is talking to each other, but
Yes.
I'm like, what the fuck? This?
I know the two characters, and I'll give you this: one of those characters is Sylvia.
Mhm.
Wait, what? What?
Yeah, the you hear the voices talking to each other in like the little grassy.
Yeah,
little
yeah.
thing when you see like two characters in there. One of those voices is Sylvia.
Speaking of that grassy area, the music was giving me Titanic mixed with fairy tale.
Oh my
vibes.
God.
Oh, the music was so good. Like I've liked the soundtrack for this series, but this episode, like they poured. Oh my God, somebody poured the emotion into the soundtrack this episode and just dialed it up to 12. They said fuck 11, let's go one higher. You know. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it got my eyes welling up a little bit at parts. But yeah, for the anime onlys, please continue. I'm gonna keep our Carolton like talk in there because it's cool. I'm just gonna let it. Yeah.
Yeah, so turns out I was thinking of a different area down in Austin that has
Oh.
basically the exact same setup.
Yeah, Carrollton is like literally just like northeast or northwest of Dallas or
Yeah.
DFW.
Which is funny because that is so close to where I'm staying at. I'm
Ah.
staying in Addison.
All right. So yeah, back to the show, back to the episode. What are we talking about?
I think that thing, the circle thing that Sylvia gave, I think it's an egg or something, and there's gonna be like some reincarnation, reborn shit happening.
Egg. Ah, I am hungry. Let's scramble something.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. My
Egg.
brain. Are you
Egg.
sure it's an egg,
White egg.
or has your brain
I
been
don't know.
scrambled?
Egg.
Egg.
But
White egg.
I'm just what I'm gonna
Egg
call
with
it. That's
strap.
just what I'm calling it. It looked like an
Egg
egg.
with feather.
I'm
Egg with feather. Yes.
egg with
Yes.
feather. We got ourselves a whole chicken nugget. Let's go.
My dude. My. All right. All right. Do we want to confirm or know anything, or do we want to just keep making jokes?
I'm fine with anything.
Okay. All right. So Hoshi thinks it's an egg.
I think it's an egg.
Fenris, what do you think?
I think she said it was an egg, so I'm going with egg.
You're going with egg? And survey says it's a rock.
Rock.
What? It's a rock. It's not a boulder. It's a rock.
It's the boulder. No, it is an egg. It is an egg.
Mhm.
Oh, it is an egg. Okay.
Yep.
Or is it a rock?
And also-
you don't know.
There's gonna be some reincarnation.
Also,
shit
the
going
anime
on.
did not say it was an egg. The anime just said,
Here,
here are some gifts for you,
Here's some gifts for you.
which
Here.
I'm very
Or-
glad they did
or-
keep that.
Or it's a
Guys,
rock.
I remember
You don't
her
know.
mentioning
Could
she
be a
said-
rock.
I
Could be an
remember-
egg. You don't
I
know.
remember, I remember Sylvia mentioning to wrap it in the feather to hatch it.
Oh, did it?
Oh.
Oh,
No, she said hide it.
she said hide it, not hatch it. Hide
Okay.
it. I was fixing to say no. Wait.
Because
I
it
was
doesn't even
pretty sure I
hatch
was
because
reading
of the feather.
subtitles. It doesn't hatch. Yeah, it doesn't hatch because of the feather. We won't go into anything more, but I have some good news for you. All right, so you guys are looking at the thing right here that I'm screen sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we've seen just about everybody that's in this thing show up at this point. There's
Except
only
for
one
one.
person. There's only one
Except
person.
for Sylvie.
Technically,
That-
except for two, actually.
Oh, no, technically, except for two. But there are two quote unquote characters that we have not seen yet, and I know for a fact that we're gonna at least see one of them next episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Possibly, depending on how fast they go through stuff, we might get two.
I don't know if we'll actually get to the second one. We'll definitely get the first one, but the second one could be the next episode or an after credit scene.
Could also, or it could be episode 5. But either way, I'm now if they continue the level of animation they actually put in this episode into the future episodes, I'm much more happy. Like I'm excited.
Mm-hmm.
I was going into this episode going, all right, back to work, and then
And
I got
honestly,
to
I think
enjoy an episode.
I think it does help that they are using CG for the bigger monsters and stuff because it works.
Also, yeah, that was the one thing I wasn't like 100% sure on was like the partial CG on Sylvia, but then I remembered, oh no, Sylvia in the armor, that's supposed to look weird and wonky, so that actually kind of makes sense. Also, all right, so the reveal that Sylvia was a dragon, how did you anime onlys handle that one?
I thought she looked really cool.
Adorable.
Yeah, but did you think that she was a dragon, or were you like, oh, this is a good demon or something?
I didn't think she was a dragon at first. I thought like either she was a demon or like some kind of like I don't know, like not a golem per se, but like not a dragon. I was not expecting dragon.
Mhm.
Nice. That's
Definitely
the
not
best part.
expecting a dragon.
I love that. This is
That's
why I'm so
great.
glad that we're letting them go into these episodes blind instead of being like, this is what's coming up, because
Yeah,
they
no,
get
yeah.
to experience like those same feelings with. It's like, oh shit, she's a
I
dragon.
beg your fluffiest of pardons. What?
I
Mhm.
beg your fluffiest of
Fluffiest of
pardons. I love
pardons.
that. That's so good. All right. Any more stuff you guys want to talk about on this anime episode?
I
We got
wish
to
the
see Arthur
pacing
grow.
was a little more.
You wish it was
just
quicker?
not so much quicker, just more because like it felt like the
Balanced.
first
Oh,
two
if we had more
episodes
time?
was like
Yeah.
really pushing through a lot of stuff, and then this one's just kind of like, eh.
Honestly, so like
No, I
while
think
there
the
isn't
pacing
a
was.
lot that happens, it still feels like it rushes.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Even though it doesn't feel like a lot happens, a lot happens. This is emotionally important for Arthur.
But that's the
and that's
thing.
why it needed to take its time. Also, here's the thing. When we say it rushed, we're not joking. How long do you think Arthur and Sylvie were in this cave together?
I
6
want to
months.
say maybe close to a year.
Wow, you got that impression from the anime? The anime made it feel like it was a couple of days. It was a couple of months. It was definitely a couple of months.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, but judging from like
So-
the context and how he's like talking, he's making it seem like he's been there a
The,
long
the,
time.
the issue is with context and everything, even with everything they're saying in the anime, you can confer that they've been there for a while, but you don't feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't feel the same level of connection in this that I got from the book. The book had me fucking bawling when specifically
He said
Sylvie
grandma.
said, no,
Well,
Sylvie
Yeah.
asked for it. It wasn't him being all like, then let me
He
call
never-
you grandma.
yeah, he
It was
never
Sylvie
once-
literally saying, before you leave,
Yeah.
please,
Can
can you
a
just
small
call me
change.
grandma?
That's a small change that I wish they had kept. Is her asking him to call her grandma and him like, I don't know, I don't think I should. And then as like she
As
sacrifices
he's thinking
herself,
about it,
Yeah,
as she's doing everything,
he
he's
goes
like, okay.
no, stay with me, grandma. And that's just like her reaction to that and everything. Oh my god, I'm welling up just thinking about it.
Exactly. That's the only
Ah!
reason I got any close to crying was because it made me think of the book, not
Yeah.
because the series made me feel anything.
I still
I mean,
thought
it
the
was-
grandma moment was touching, regardless.
It
Mm.
was, but not as
Not as impactful. Yeah.
I wish they had like shown him like growing just a little bit to kind of like infer passing of months.
Well, all right. So in the same way, I will. I'm gonna make another comparison to Mishoku Tensei. Sorry, hit my mic. I'm gonna make another comparison to Mishoku Tensei. There was a credit scene midway through season 1 of Mishoku Tensei where you see Rudy and Regerd and Eris are doing like a bunch of different stuff on the Demon Continent, and it feels like, oh yeah, this is a fun little trip, like a couple of weeks. No, that's an entire year that just passed in the credits that you have no frame of reference for. Like if you don't know that's a year that passes, you would not realize. Like I was explaining to people who reacted, I was like, dude, an entire year just happened. And they're like, wait, what? I was like, yeah, the credits in that last episode, that was what happened in a year. And yeah, they just sped through that. So this, I get, anime does that. Like that is just an anime thing, because of the nature of the format of anime.
Yeah.
The sense of time is lost in a lot of this stuff. And to be fair, in the manhwa, you don't get the sense of time for that either. In the comic, the sense of time kind of does not flow the same way either. It still feels a little quicker. It's the novel where you really, that's why I encourage people to check out like the novelizations of stuff, whether it was the original or not, because you really do feel the sense of time more intricately when you read the novel. Even in an audiobook format, you still feel the sense of time passing. But other than that, I think our only gripes were like this minor thing changed or this minor thing changed, or because it's an anime, you know, this thing obviously was going to happen. But it did feel, I will agree with you, it did feel slowed down from the pacing of the previous 2 episodes, which is a good thing, and I think was very important, because this was that episode, this was that make or break episode. If they didn't get this right, I think Moon and I were done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would still say this was going faster than it could have or needed to, and that's mostly just from kind of how they showed things and how they talked about things.
Right.
Like
I can understand that. I think they did.
I think with just some
considering
other
how-
slight changes, it could have felt better and still been in the 1 episode.
Yes, but considering all the things that they were doing and the stuff that they added in that did not exist before, I'm willing to forgive. I know that you don't have context for why 2 characters on a hillside were talking to each other, and I think I understand the specific implications of why. And not necessarily like you don't know who those characters are and it's like, oh, I don't understand what. No, in the same vein as when the feather fell in the first episode and we heard that character talking, and I'm like, oh shit, they're referencing this thing. Now I'm pretty sure they're referencing something else, and I'm like, oh, I haven't gotten to that part, but I think I understand here. That's dope. I like how they're alluded to far future stuff, but not even referencing that it's far future stuff. Like if you have the context, it's awesome. And I like the small little things that they're adding to it. They're not taking too much away, but the stuff that they take away, they're adding to something instead of just taking it away. So I'm kind of willing to forgive a little bit on this episode.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, even with that extra stuff,
Mhm.
just some of the ways, like, some things could have been said or shown, because like, trying to think of how to word this.
But is this like a major thing? Like, fuck, I hate this episode kind of stuff? Or is it like, I wish
It's not
it's
major
just,
enough for me
eh.
to be all like, I hate it, but it is major enough for me to just be all like, this episode is missing so much of the same heart and feeling that chapter carried.
I disagree. I think it was there. I think the heart and the soul of what was supposed to happen here happened.
I'm not saying it's void. I'm not saying it's not gone, but it's missing like a decent amount, like a good chunk.
I
Because
still
I
disagree.
personally
I think,
love it when something can make me cry. That means it
yes,
was good.
well,
But this didn't make me cry. And
this,
that makes me upset because, like, I think back to the book and I'm like, that just felt so much more impactful.
I think I don't think there's as much of a chunk for me as there was for you. It feels like maybe 15% difference in this episode, and it sounds like you're more like it's a 40 to 50.
What were those numbers again? Hold on.
I said 15 for me. Like I think
Yeah.
there's a 15% difference between the anime and the novel, and it sounds to me like you were thinking it was more closer to 40 or 50% different.
Yeah, that's just based off how I felt for it. Yeah.
Okay. So it's just a difference in feeling, honestly, between us, and that's fine. You don't, we don't have to like feel the same way on this,
Yeah.
and that's fine.
Yeah.
I think they did a very, very good job. I I think they actually saved the series with this episode for me. I was like, I was prepared to be thoroughly disappointed at the slideshow that was present before me, and we didn't get that, and I was like, oh, thank God.
I'm kind of at the point of I'm still willing to go on, but I'm like hoping they don't change too much else with a lot of other things, but we'll have to see what happens.
I hope that they enhance certain
I do
things
like
more.
enhancements, and that is what I
Yeah.
want, but
But yeah, I went into this knowing that it's Studio ACAT and it wasn't going to be the greatest thing ever, so I didn't have my expectations set extremely high. But yeah,
I know nothing of the studio. I just know what I experienced and what I wanted to experience in a different
right,
way.
right, and I'm still of the argument that I would love to put a poll up for the Solo Leveling fans and the Mishoku Tensei fans, because both series are referenced when you talk about this, because there's so much stuff in here that is similar to Mishoku Tensei, but also this is the manhwa that took over the top spot from Solo Leveling once it finished, and the the sequel to Solo Leveling never stood a chance. But I was gonna put up like a poll saying, oh, if this could be animated by another company, would you prefer if it was Studio Bind for Mishoku Tensei or A1 for Solo Leveling? But yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed this episode, regardless. Anime onlys, did you have any final thoughts before we get to the ratings?
I'm good.
I had two things I was wanting
for
to
it.
touch on.
Go for it.
One, the male dragon, take a fucking hint and take no for a fucking answer. Jesus.
Okay, so
Mm.
I will make one distinction here. yes, they were wearing similar armor. That does not mean that that thing is a dragon. It does not mean that that thing is a dragon. Just that Sylvia was a dragon.
Well, regardless, it needs to learn to take no for a fucking answer.
Agreed. So does its boss.
And then secondly,
Mm-hmm.
just a stupid thought I had watching it, as one Arthur said that, he's going to kill everyone that dares to hurt his family, and Sylvia flicks him.
Yeah.
My mind went to, you're not Batman.
You want to talk about something that made me cry recently? I saw the Batman meme of the no don't go thing where Batman's hugging his parents as they slowly disappear. And they just replaced the faces with Gura and Ame. And I'm like, no! So, yeah.
Yep.
Oops. Yep. That hurts. But that being the case, it's time for our ratings of this episode. So let's start with Hoshi Nugget. On a scale of 1 to 10, where do you place this episode?
I place it at a 7.5.
Oh, okay. I honestly thought it was going to be higher, but okay.
I'm giving it an 8.
Okay.
Much better than the last 2 episodes. And once again, it has more motion now than a standard visual novel.
Yes.
But the first 2 episodes still leave a sour taste in my mouth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. No, okay. No, I can understand that. Moon?
I'm at a 7.
Wow. Okay, so I'm the only 9. I am the solo 9 here. I honestly thought this episode redeemed the need for this anime, honestly. I was about to be like, yeah, this anime needs to be redone by someone else. And I still kind of feel that way. But I'm like, all right, I see where we're trying to go. Please keep it at least here and less slideshow from now on.
So
Yeah.
I actually just recently read an interview with Turtle Me, who stated that he does not want it rebooted or remade.
That
He
sucks.
likes it the way it is.
Really?
Really?
Yes.
Okay, well then I'm just blaming Turtle Me for this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, he may know more about what's going on in the future than we do, and that might be
He
a good
may.
reason.
He more than likely does, because Studio ACAT's the only studio, according to the interview, that allowed him to actually put his thought process into the anime.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Like I'll agree with that, like letting the author have making sure that they have their vision in there. But this isn't One Piece, my guy. Like he doesn't have that much creative control. Or rather the live action One Piece is what I meant. But like regardless, yeah. I really enjoyed this episode. That's all I'm gonna say. This was a good episode. And it took some of the bad taste out of my mouth from this series so far. And I hope it continues this way. Any final thoughts before we head out?
I do agree that this episode has been better than the other two, and like it does give me hope for future episodes. But my biggest thing was just like, again, harkening back to the feelings. That's the only reason that kind of detracted it for me.
I mean, once again, I think going from one medium to another, you're going to lose some stuff regardless, and I don't think they're going to be able to. And more context was just added. Apparently, this is the way that Turtle Meme wanted it to go.
Which does make it a bit more interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see how other events are going to take place, but
Yeah. All right. Last 2 final thoughts.
No, I got nothing else.
Okay. Hoshi?
Nothing.
Okay. Well, that's it for us, guys. We will see you on the next episode of TBATE reviews, and I promise that at some point this week we will get to reviewing freaking episodes of, or at least the most recent episode of Apothecary Diaries. I promise. We're supposed to get to it. We will. Yes. And once again, sorry that the last week's episodes were late, but 5+ hours at the DMV. When I got home, I was like ready to blow the world up. I didn't want to deal with editing videos and putting them up or anything like that. So apologies, had to be done, and I couldn't do it on Sunday because we had back-to-back streams. Alrighty, take care. And of course, we would love to hear your thoughts about this episode down in the comments below. How did you feel? What were some of the things that you liked, didn't like, or does this change your opinion of the anime? Or are you still just kind of like cautiously optimistic now? Or is it all pessimism still? Let us know. We want to know. All right, take care, and bye-bye for now.
Oh.